the Apaches of San Antonio's Antonian College Track, and the Barons of San Antonio St. Mary's Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, this contest is governed by the Texas Association of Private and Parochial Schools to promote good sportsmanship and fair play among its member schools. We ask that all fans act in a responsible and courteous manner at all times. The officials for today's contests are our guests, and they should be treated as such. Also, we ask everyone to refrain from going onto the floor following the game so that the next two teams can begin their warm-up for our last game of the evening. TAPS would like to express its appreciation to Wilson Sporting Goods, the official football of TAPS, for providing the balls for this contest. Our officials this evening from the Texas Association of Sports Fitness are Jeff Warwick, Robert Torres, and Leslie Cole. And if you have any friends or family who can't be at tonight's game, tell them to go to the TAPS website at taps.biz and click on the links for either TAPS TV or TAPS Radio to listen or watch the game live online. TAPS Radio broadcast is free. TAPS TV you can purchase for live viewing tonight and for on-demand viewing later. That's TAPS TV, the broadcast home of the Texas Association of Private and Parochial Schools. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to meet the competitors in tonight's contest. Our first team is our designated visiting team, comes into the game with an overall record of 34 wins against 7 defeats. They are led by Coach Rudy Bernal and assistant coaches Lou Martinez, Manuel Martinez, and Bob Rosenio from San Antonio, Texas. Please welcome the Antonian Apaches. The starting lineup for the Apaches. Shooting guard number 3, Gavino Ramos. Freshman guard number 5, Santiago Ochoa. Senior forward number 14, Jeff Grant. Junior guard number 15, Brian Armstrong. And the junior forward, number 32, Frank Amaro. For 2019-2020 Antonian Apaches. And now today's designated home team comes into the contest with an overall record of 26 wins against 8 defeats. They are led by head coach Barry Chamberlain and assistant coaches Lance Lewis, Jaron Arnold, and Clay Bogus from San Antonio, Texas. Please welcome the St. Mary's Hall Barons. The starting lineup for the Barons is as follows. Senior guard number 3, Dane Huggins. Senior guard number 12, Avery Huckster. Senior guard number 13, Max Terry. Senior forward number 15, Cooper Terry. And senior guard number 21, Ben Euster. 2019-2020 St. Mary's Hall Barons. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise for our invocation, delivered by Mr. Brett Spicer, head of the upper school at St. Mary's Hall, and then remain standing for the national anthem.
Almighty God, thank you for this evening and for this thrilling opportunity for Antonian and St. Mary's Hall to compete in tonight's TAPS State semifinal game. We thank you for these dedicated teams who have so well represented and competed for our schools this season, and we are immensely proud of them and grateful for them in their lives. May our team's effort and our support for them bring honor to our schools and most of all to you, O God. Keep our players and all of us cheering for them safe this evening. Thank you for your presence with us, and may you continue to watch over and bless us. It's in your most holy name I offer this prayer.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please remain standing for our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Basketball Thunderdome. 2 teams enter. 1 team leaves with a chance to play for the state championship.
The TAP 6A state semifinals. Number 4, Antonian Prep, the Apaches, 34-7 on the year against the number 6, St. Mary's Hall Barons, 28-7 on the season for a berth in the 6A championship game. From University High School in Waco, Texas, Mike Leslie and Will Curtis here with you on TAPS TV. And the opening tip just moments away between 2 of the top 4 teams in TAPS basketball at the highest level in the state of Texas. Antonian Prep in the reds with white numbers and lettering. St. Mary's Hall in the white with gray piping and numbers. And they will have the first possession of the basketball game here at University High in Waco. Nice move to the tin, and the layup will go from Dane Huggins. Starters for St. Mary's Hall: Huggins, Avery Eugster, Max Terry, Cooper Terry, and Ben Eugster. The Eugsters, twin brothers. The Terry brothers, fraternal twins. Ball knocked into the backcourt, tipped, so no backcourt violation. Antonian Prep starters: the Apaches, Gavino Ramos, Santiago Ochoa, Devin Grant, Brian Armstrong, and Freddie Amaro. Ramos with it on the right wing. He's their leading scorer, 23 and change a game. Grant up top for Ochoa, the freshman. He's been called the best freshman in the San Antonio area, and he finishes.
So far, both teams attacking the basket relentlessly. This is coming in, this 6A grouping here is coming with the high billing.
Offensive rebound. Putback will go for Eugster, Avery Eugster.
We want to see if this lives up to the hype.
Antonian looking to run. Now they'll slow it down. Brian Armstrong controlling away from the hoop. Now right wing for Ochoa. Underneath, Devin Grant. Tie game. Ball tipped on the sideline, saved back in bounds, nearly stolen again, but a foul will go against the freshman Ochoa. Ramos the player to watch for Antonian, 23 a game, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Meanwhile, for St. Mary's Hall, Avery Eugster, their leading scorer, 20 a game. His twin brother Ben Eugster, 17 a game.
Looks like here we've got every classification represented for Antonian. All seniors for St. Mary's, so interesting mix there between the 2 squads.
Mentioned Ochoa, the freshman, Amaro, a sophomore, Armstrong and Ramos juniors. And they're going to look to run with it. Ochoa up ahead. Has it blocked away at the backboard. Eugster up high to cancel it out. And back the other way, the layup will go for his twin brother. Eugster to Eugster on opposite ends of the floor. The answer won't go for Freddie Amaro. 2.5 minutes in and a frenetic pace already. Layup good for Huggins, 8-4.
Huggins is lightning quick, even with the ball in his hands. I mean, he runs faster with the ball in his hands than some people do without it.
Right
I know
corner,
myself.
Amaro can't finish the layup inside. It'll stay 8-4. Right side of the lane, high off the glass, this time no good. And here comes Amaro in the lane, leaves it behind, nearly walked with it. Amaro gets it to go. Eugster to the other Eugster for 3. Yes, sir.
Number 15, Cooper Terry.
Avery Eugster with the left wing three-pointer. And again, the layup rolls off, this time for Devin Grant. For the steal here, Brian Armstrong coming away with the loose ball. and through the traffic for the lay-in.
Nice move there by Armstrong, splitting the defense.
Foul on the somewhat out of control drive from Ben Euchster, but he's bailed out on the reach-in. 2 free throws for the senior. First one will go. St. Mary's Hall in the state semifinals, courtesy of a 74-49 win over Concordia Lutheran in the regional final. Second free throw goes, and it's 13-8 Barons early on. Antonian Prep, a 64-39 win over St. Thomas High School in the regional final. Antonian, the defending state champions in 6A, beat Prestonwood Christian for the title a year ago in double overtime, 70-67. Today, trying to earn their way back to the title game. Pump fake, 18-footer won't go for Armstrong. Huggins in transition, ahead for Euchster. A block on the floor. It'll be a baseline inbound. Rudy Bernal, the head coach of Antonian Prep, told me before the game, he said, we have to take care of the basketball. He said everything that St. Mary's does is predicated on creating turnovers and running off of those turnovers.
And we have seen that already right out of the gate.
Yeah. Stripped away, loose in the backcourt, recovered by St. Mary's Hall, but now another steal. This time, it's Chance Felix all alone for the lay-in. Just into the ball game, and he makes an impact, the junior, for 2.
Yeah, mad scramble by, Antonian comes with it, the easy 2.
Baseline, Euchster rolls off. Ochoa. Behind the back, gives it up for Felix. Ochoa, spin move in the lane. Nice look underneath, but a little too strong. Through the hands and out of bounds.
Yeah, good idea. Just poor execution. Just a little bit too hard on that pass.
Now a steal here at the midcourt. Ochoa, regular partner, it's Ramos. Draws the foul, but it's on the floor. Now I'm trying to figure out who number 25 is for Antonian. There's no 25 on the roster I was given by head coach Rudy Bernal. There's no 25 on the roster that is in the program here at University High School. It's a nice move to the 10 by the freshman. And Ochoa makes it a 1-point game, 13-12.
We are seeing it all day. We've got a mystery man out there. We're going to have to go figure that out at a break.
At the quarter break, I'll head across to the scorer's table and figure out who's who. That is a jump ball. It's quick hands from Gavino Ramos. And that will create the turnover as the possession arrow is in favor of Antonian. St. Mary's Hall jumped out to the early 11-6 lead, but a 6-2 spurt here from Antonian to shave it down to a 1-point lead with 2 minutes to play in the first quarter. Trapping zone here from St. Mary's Hall, but Antonian threw it cleanly. Ochoa to the lane, draws the foul. That'll go against Euchster.
Ochoa is a good-looking freshman out there. Looks like he handles the ball. This moment isn't too big for him right now here in the Final Four.
Talked about how he's basically been called the top freshman in San Antonio. So good that even the Mexican national team has had him come in and play with their 15 and under team. Foul underneath.
And I can see that.
That's going to send Ramos to the free throw line, the junior. 85% free throw shooter.
And again, we got another familiar matchup here. 4th meeting of the year, having played 3 times before.
December 14th, they met in a tournament. Antonian won 69-61 as Ramos ties the basketball game at 13 apiece with the first free throw. They played January 31st in district play. Antonian won 92-89, but not before St. Mary's Hall came all the way back on them from a big deficit in the 4th quarter to cut within those 3 points, and they had a 3-point attempt at the buzzer that went begging that could have tied the game and forced overtime. First lead of the game for Antonian now. Over the head and a steal. Felix with the easiest steal he'll have all day. And Antonian now with the lead and the leather with 90 seconds to play in the first quarter. Behind the back dribble, Ramos has it blocked. Nearly saved back in bounds by Eugster, but it'll stay on this end. Ochoa, the freshman, will tee the inbound. Ramos 40 feet from the hoop, guarded by Eugster. Crossover into the lane. Hesitation, can't finish. Rebound pulled down by Huggins, and he'll look to run. Up ahead, Eugster. Can't finish the lay-in. Back the other way comes Felix. As up and down the floor they go here in quarter number 1. 7 minutes gone by in the opening stanza. In the corner, it's Grant. Leaves for Ochoa. Ramos with 45 to play in the first. Back to Ochoa, right wing. Nice move to the left, gets back to the right, into the lane, too strong off the glass.
Ochoa using that left hand to his advantage.
Now a steal here by Ramos, all alone, lays it in, and the foul. Isaiah Wright turned it over, and then fouls Ramos on his way to the hoop. Chance for 3 the old-fashioned way for the junior guard.
Speaking of Ochoa, as a defender, you're used to guarding those and defending the right hand so much that the lefty can throw you for a little bit of a loop, even if you played against somebody for a while. Still, you have to get used to it again. Of, hey, I can't force him to my left or his left.
3 for Ramos. 17-13 Antonian. Fell in an early hole. Now they've come back to take this 4-point lead. A 9-2, 11-2 run. Whistle in the midcourt will be a foul against Antonian. 22.2 to play. And St. Mary's Hall, if they'd like to, can hold for the final shot. Of course, in a sport in the state of Texas that has no shot clock, theoretically, you could say that off the opening tip.
You could.
Nice move to the tin, but he can't finish. Eugster. And here comes Ramos in transition. Knifing through and connecting.
Wow.
Gavino Ramos. And now Huggins doesn't see the clock. 1 second on the clock, doesn't get it off.
No, that's one of those of just having to be court aware of time and situation. Huggins was not in that instance, unable to get the shot off.
And after 19-13, Antonian Prep with the lead. We'll be back on TAPS TV. Back at University High School just in time for the start of quarter number 2 here on TAPS TV. Antonian Prep, number 4 in the state, leading by 6 after 1 quarter. In the process of a 13-2 run right now to take this 6-point edge after falling into an early 5-point lead, 11-6. St. Mary's Hall with the first possession here of quarter number 2 as they move right to left. In the corner, Eugster, cross court. Avery Eugster gives to his brother in the lane. The layup won't go. They have not been able to finish in tight, and that's been part of why Antonian Prep has been able to make the comeback they've made. We did get some clarification during the quarter break. Number 25 is Khalil Warfield, who was initially listed as number 10 on the roster. A number change for him as Ramos gets to the hoop again and finishes.
Yeah, Antonian went spread there. They're using their ability to drive to the basket to their advantage. He took advantage of that with the layup.
And Ramos has the last 9 points for Antonian Prep. It's a 13-0 run, a 15-2 run. And the lead has grown to 8 for Antonian Prep. Eugster, cross court, open in the corner for 3. Rattles off the hands of Rodney Hunter. Foul, though, on this end will keep it here. It'll go against Brian Armstrong. It'll be a baseline inbound here for Hunter. Into Avery Eugster. Gavin Walker in the game. Eugster, baseline, spins, cross court. Huggins gives it in the corner for Ben Eugster. Now back to Huggins for 3. Off to the left. And here comes Ochoa in transition. Looking to go 1-on-2. Kicks into the corner, offensive foul. Ochoa with his second here early on in the second quarter. And that is already 17 fouls against Antonian.
That was a good call. Ochoa a little bit out of control. St. Mary's Hall discipline taking the charge right there. Putting himself in the bonus for future fouls now at this point.
And a travel against St. Mary's Hall. (21-13). 6 1/4 to play, second quarter. Ramos looking to keep it going, draws the foul.
Antonian doing a beautiful job of breaking this pressure. If they get in the middle or the sideline, they're kicking it right to the middle where he can turn, go up the court, but most time he's going opposite with it, and they're getting that advantage break on the backside. Well done by Antonian.
Ramos sinks the first. Continues the run for Antonian. Now a 15-0 run for the Apaches.
Yeah, St. Mary's needs somebody to step up right here and get them a bucket.
The last 11 of this 15-0 run, all Ramos. And they can't end it as Terry's three-pointer goes begging. Ramos gets double-teamed, dribbles around it, but has it stripped away. Avery Eugster with the steal, trying to go 1-on-2 in transition. Gives it to his brother. He'll pull back for 3. Misses short. Rebound corralled by his brother. Underneath, Max Terry. Cross-court, Huggins for 3. That'll go and finally ends the run mercifully for St. Mary's Hall.
Big shot by Huggins there.
And now they'll continue to pressure way away from the hoop, trying to create a trap. Right through it, but Ramos can't finish this time. Loose on the deck, hits on the baseline, and it's St. Mary's Hall basketball. Huggins, crossover into the lane, draws the foul, tried to go up and under, couldn't finish, but he'll head to the free throw line for 2.
Huggins has been able to do what he wants to so far in this game when he has the ball in his hands. He's getting the basket. He knocked down the three-pointer. And this gives them a chance to knock down some free throws and set up their press.
Huggins misses the first. Senior guard averaging 13 a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Connects on the second.
1-2-2 press that's being applied right here. Antonian's done a good job breaking it. There's a ball fake.
Showing some patience. They get it across the timeline.
Back to that middle again.
In the middle, the layup missed by Grant. Chases down his own rebound. Up top, open for 3. Ramos can't hit. Loose ball in the paint, knocked out of bounds. Off red. And it's St. Mary's Hall basketball.
Antonian picking up full court man-to-man pressure, a little token pressure here. Not, again, just trying to make them work, bring up court.
Euster double team, draws the foul. He was in trouble. That foul bailed him out of a sticky situation, and he'll head to the free throw line for 1-1. Already 19 fouls in the half on Antonian, 5 on St. Mary's Hall.
It's a tough call. You just want to move your feet there, not foul 30 to 35 feet from the basket, especially when you put them on the line for the 1-on-1.
Hits the first, earns a second. Euster with a chance to trim it back to a 4-point game, and does exactly that. Lead had grown as large as 10, now a 6-0 spurt for the Barons. Rolls off the rim, but coming back into the court of play was Euster. Ramos can get anywhere on the floor he wants to be.
He's another one. I was talking about Huggins doing it.
Yeah.
Ramos is the same way.
Yeah. Up top for Felix. Center of the zone. Nice spin move to get to the hoop. Draws the foul, can't finish, but Grant's head to the free throw line for 2.
I'd say Antonian's had a number of those guys execute that spin move. That must be something they really work on in practice, because they're executing that very well.
And from a guy with the size of Grant to have that kind of quickness.
Absolutely, yeah. And you can even see it in the press break, too, right here with these quick hands and quick feet. He just definitely glides right through those spaces. Doesn't look like he should be able to, but he's capable of it for sure.
Grant stands 6'4", makes 1 of 2, lead back to 5. Gavin Walker running the point now for St. Mary's Hall off the bench. Hands for Euster. Terry hits the 3. Max Terry with the triple, and the lead's back down to 2. They get it to the center and break the press. Now they'll go back inside for Grant.
Good move.
Too strong inside.
Yeah. They don't have, St. Mary's doesn't have anybody that can match up with him down low inside when he's able to catch it right there on the block.
There's plenty of size for St. Mary's Hall. Nobody's got the girth to deal with Grant.
Yeah, that's a good point. They do have some height, but he's able to move him out of the way with the lower half.
Terry with the offensive board and finds the answer. 5 straight points for Terry to lead the way for the Barons here in the recent going. 3 to play here first half, 2-point game. Felix, cross court, open in the corner, pump fake 3 on the way for Martinez, misses short. Gets his own rebound, back to Felix, and they'll reset.
Very smart play right there. Just reset it, don't take a quick shot, get in the hands of Ramos because you know something good's going to happen there.
Sets up Martinez again, and again it's short. Just into the basketball game, getting a couple good looks at three, but not quite warmed up just yet. Back the other way, Euster misses short. Rebound pulled down underneath by Walker, and it'll be a jump ball as he gets tied up by Grant. Huggins checking back into the ball game, as is Rodney Hunter. Tell you what, after back-to-back blowouts in the 4A semifinals, just to be able to say it's a 2-point game late second quarter is a relief.
It is, absolutely.
They break the press, get it up ahead for Martinez. And now they'll slow it back down, give it back out to Grant, and set the offense with Ramos.
Yes, I think we've seen our blowouts for the day.
Grant inside. Can't finish this time, but gets his own board. And the putback will go. He has been a load inside. Huggins nearly dribbled into a trap. Circles back. They set up the three on the right wing. This time it rattles out. Tip-in won't go. Another offensive board. And this time it will fall for Ben Euster. St. Mary's Hall is fighting to stay in this basketball game. That gets called a foul. And Dane Huggins hopping up and down on the baseline. Can't believe the call. It looked like he got certainly a lot of ball. Maybe not all ball, but got quite a bit of the basketball.
Ramos got double teamed about 90 feet from the basket, broke through that, weaved all the way down, got to the end. And now he's converting. Now he's converting at the free throw line based off of what he just did. Looked like he took an elbow at midcourt too, along the way that wasn't called. And I think the Antonian fans agree with me there from what I'm hearing back behind me.
He hits both. Lead back to 4. Buck 37 first half. 4-point game. St. Mary's Hall trailing by those 4 points. For the starting point guard, Huggins back in the basketball game running the offense. Down the lane, up and under, can't get it off the glass.
Grant pulling down the rebound.
And now Rudy Bernal wants to talk over the final Buck 19. Good first half between these two basketball teams here in the 6A state semifinals.
Absolutely. You know, they're familiar with each other, of course. But even with that being said, there's a lot of good execution, which sometimes it's hard to find when the other team knows exactly what's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, the guard play of Antonian has been a big difference. Ramos and Ochoa, and then, of course, Grant inside. Offensively down here, making hay on the block, rebounding and defending the interior down here. Probably why they've got just the slimmest of margins, because St. Mary's Hall is playing well too.
By my count, 11 in the half for Gavino Ramos, 7 in the half, and all 7 of those points, I beg your pardon, 5 of those 7 coming in the very recent going for Devin Grant.
Yeah, he's the type of player I expect to exert his will a lot, especially in the second half.
That kind of size advantage and strength advantage only reveals itself more as exhaustion takes
on them
hold.
Over first, second, third quarter, you can expect to see a lot out of him later too. He's already showing it now.
Nearly a throwaway into the trap. Nearly stolen again, but they get out of it. Corner 3 blocked away as Huggins comes soaring across.
Huggins is an unbelievable athlete. He is just flying all over this court.
66 seconds to play here in the first half. And they've got to throw it all the way up top for Grant. And Ramos will set the offense with a minute to play. 3-on-3, Ramos guarded by Huggins, 40 feet from the basket. Huggins trying to stay close enough to keep a count on. Now they get it to Grant in the post. No double team comes, and he finishes. At some point, you're going to have to start doubling that in the post because it's too effective.
His drop step is just way too effective.
Back the other way, Eugster back up top. Huggins misses off the left side of the iron. Gets it back, though, off the offensive board. Behind the back pass on the baseline for Terry. Along the baseline, now to Eugster. Lefty layup won't go. Offensive board yet again. Put back and the foul for Cooper Terry. .3 on the clock. And if Terry can hit the free throw, he'll cut the lead to a single possession.
Yeah, St. Mary's Hall was just resilient on that possession. Finally got rewarded with the basket, and then to cap it off, the and one.
Terry will check out for these final 17 seconds. Felix staring at the press. Ramos with 11. Grant. 7 seconds to play. Felix has got to do something with it. Down to 4. Felix down the lane. Draws the foul. 1.8 to play and 2 free throws for the junior.
And Grant's presence right there was the determining factor. His man did not want to come off and help. Afraid of another dump and score. Just gave him just enough of an angle to get to the basket where he got clipped and fouled. And now he's going to try and put 2 in here to end the half.
Felix hits the first. On the season, a 29% free throw shooter. Hits 1 of 2, but the putback will go for Grant at the buzzer.
Well, that's kind of the half it is for Devin Grant. In the air, rebound, didn't even get a chance to use his drop step. He just flung it up and it went in.
35-29 the score as a result of those 3 quick points right before the gun. And it's a 6-point edge for Antonian Prep at halftime of the 6A state semifinals. Second half action on its way after the break here on TAPS TV. 35-29, your halftime score in the TAP 6A state semifinals. Number 4, Antonian Prep, the Apaches, 34-7 on the year with a 35-29 lead on number 6, St. Mary's Hall. The Barons, 28-7 on the season, squaring off here at University High School in Waco, Texas, for a berth in the 6A state championship game. 13 points in the first half for Gavino Ramos to lead all scorers. 11 points from Devin Grant, including the buzzer beater right before the end of the opening half. He's got 11. 8 points apiece for Ben Euchster and Dane Huggins to lead the way for St. Mary's Hall. And the Barons start the half with possession, trailing by 6 and trying to slice into that a little bit. Nice backdoor cut. Huggins up and under, can't finish. Ball knocked out of bounds. It'll stay on this end. The Antonian fans behind us can't believe that call.
There's been a few they can't believe, Mike. That was a great backdoor cut. He just got too far into the basket and put it on the bottom of the backboard.
Euchster back out for Huggins. He'll pop for 3 and connect.
Huggins continuing his pace he had in the first half. Let's see if this press does anything.
And it does. Creates the turnover as Ochoa, the freshman, throws it away.
First one right off the bat. All it takes is a couple times, a couple mental lapses, a couple of turnovers. Find yourself getting right back into this game, or in this case, finding the lead if they can knock down a couple of shots.
Three-pointer won't drop from the left wing for Euchster. Avery Euchster with 5 points in the first half. His brother Ben with 8. And now leading the way for St. Mary's Hall with 11 is Dane Huggins. Locked inside, knocked away, but Grant got it back. Putback won't go. Huggins with the board. Minute and a quarter gone by, third quarter. Nice move into the lane, and it will go for Max Terry, and the lead is down to 1 in a blink.
Nice shot, just to start. St. Mary's Hall wanted right here coming out of the half.
Brian Armstrong out ahead, gets it to Terry. Nice look, wide open underneath, easy lay-in, and Freddie Amaro makes it a 3-point game once again.
I can see why they like Grant in the middle of that press break. So many different options, and that one he shows his passing ability.
And now a foul underneath is going to go against the Barons. It's going to be a foul on Ben Euchster. His second foul of the day. Not a ton of foul trouble at halftime for either team, but here's steal. Huggins tried to give it back to Euchster. The other Euchster brother comes out with it. Now Avery spinning into the lane. Terry left open on the baseline. Ball ripped away, and it's a steal for Devin Grant, and he draws the foul.
That's 2 turnovers this half against the press in under 2 minutes. I don't remember them turning over twice against this press in the first half, so they got to take care of the basketball here. Antonian.
Ramos racing up floor. Terry met at the apex by Dane Huggins, but a foul underneath. Dane Huggins is 5'11". You wouldn't believe it based on how high we just saw him get.
He's a dynamic athlete, that's for sure.
I should say he's listed at 5'11". Right. He looks like he's a little taller a drink of water than that, but man, athleticism just out of the gym.
Of course, what's a good way of breaking the press? Get it to Ramos. Let him go. Just like that, right?
One-man press break. Grant to the free throw line to shoot 2 after they clean up the wet spot on the baseline. Huggins has done a couple of things, though, in this first 2 quarters and change that have been legitimately eye-popping.
Absolutely.
Grant now with 13 on the day.
Absolutely. Antonian's got to know where Huggins is at all times.
He controls top of the key, gives off for Euchster. In the corner, Terry. Huggins. Chased from behind, nice look in the lane. Rebound, fought for, still loose, and Grant comes away with it. Up ahead, Ochoa on the run. The alley-oop will go.
Beautiful pass right there, leading to the layup.
Amaro with the finish, and the lead back to 7. Just as fast as they got it down to 1, it extends back out.
Yeah, it was a great response.
Eugster down the lane but can't finish. In transition, the freshman, Ochoa. Lead up to 9.
St. Mary's Hall's got to be careful here. They need a response. Don't want this to grow to double digits.
I was about to say they need a timeout. Eugster answers just as well.
I was thinking that, but Coach Chamberlain knew better. 3-pointer right there from his guy.
Eugster now with 11 on the day. Pump fake, wide open 3 on the wing, no good. And now a travel on the baseline. Eugster lost his footing, and that'll give it back to Antonian on that end. 4:38 to play, third quarter. 6-point lead for the number 4 Apaches. Ochoa baseline inbound. Ramos from way out. A little aggressive there, pulling from several feet behind the arc.
That's a shot you want even from somebody like Ramos in that situation.
And now Brian Armstrong with the foul in transition. Right at the midcourt stripe. That's 3 fouls in the half. I beg your pardon, there are 3 fouls in the half on St. Mary's Hall. That's the first foul of the half on Antonian. Corner, Terry. Cross court for Huggins, nearly stolen away. Instead, it's going to create a wide open 3-point chance, but he can't hit. And here comes Ochoa. 1 on 3, able to slow down, but can't finish the layup. And here comes Dane Huggins.
What a
nice
pass
passing, and it ends in the bucket and the foul. Undercut is Avery Eugster. Beautiful execution in transition, and a chance to cut the lead to 3. You can't draw it up. As a coach, you got to just love watching that kind of tic-tac-toe passing on the fast break.
Absolutely, yeah. Anytime it goes to one side and it's not even in your hands for a split second going back the other way, the defense has no time to react to get back. And the only chance they have is a situation like that. They're not in position. It's a foul. And 1 now trying to make the free throw.
Eugster, one of 2 twins. His brother just hit a 3 to cut the 9-point lead to 6. Now the other Eugster with a chance for 3 the old-fashioned way. And the lead is down to 3. No timeout needed for Barry Chamberlain.
Absolutely
just let
not.
the Eugsters take over.
He knew it.
And now a steal here for Huggins. Thought about pulling up for 3, drives inside, and what a finish.
It just seems like he's just hanging in the air forever there.
Dane Huggins, the whirling dervish to the tin, and it's a 1-point game. And now a whistle on the far side from one of our officials. Leslie Ewell, Robert Torres, and Jeff Wanek, our 3-man crew today. Trying to sort things out, trying to settle down. Barry Chamberlain was saying something to the officials, and they said, hang on, we'll take care of it. That's Ewell, the crew chief, talking with Robert Torres.
This discussion is about.
It is not at the moment remotely clear. 3:55 on the clock here in the third quarter. 43-42. Antonian with the lead. There was a gesture toward the clock from Leslie Ewell. Whatever it was, they've got it sorted out. Nothing changed with the score or time. The possession was already with Antonian, and it remains as such, so nothing changed through all of that. Whatever they had to sort out is settled. And it's Armstrong with the pull, with the fadeaway, and he gets it to go.
That's a big-time move by Armstrong right there. Off the dribble, little step back.
Well, miscommunication there between Huggins and Euster as they collide. Cross court for Rodney Hunter just into the basketball game. Now Isaiah Wright, hands off for Euster. Gets baseline, back out for Wright. Into the lane, draws the foul. It'll be on the floor. And here comes some reinforcements for both sides. Gavin Walker into the basketball game. He'll give Dane Huggins a spell.
Up and down pace, get some new bodies in there, give some guys a break.
Cooper Terry back into the basketball game. Inbound to Euster, right in the post. Can't finish. Rebound tipped, and a big collision. And they're going to call the foul against St. Mary's Hall. Fourth foul of the half on the Barons. Three minutes to play, third quarter. Ramos patiently across the timeline, gives for Grant. Corner three, misses short, and now a foul on the rebound on this end. That'll go against Khalil Warfield.
A lot of aggressive play just resulting in some of these fouls. You know, as a coach, you like seeing the aggressiveness that's out there. And sometimes they're going to result in negative plays for you.
Third foul on Warfield. A lot of dribbling trying to set something up here. Now Max Terry in the left wing. Baseline, Euster to the 10, and he finishes. Avery Euster with a chance to tie the game.
Great finish there on that baseline. Great body control. Now going to the line, trying to tie this game up. We weren't saying that in the last couple of games, were we, in the third quarter?
Not remotely. A couple of blowouts in the 4A state semifinals. The 6A semis, at least so far, much better, and we figure that the 8 o'clock tip will be quite good as well. The number one team in the state in 6A, John Paul II out of Plano, and Midland Christian, number 3 in the state in 6A, squaring off at 8 o'clock. The free throw goes begging, though. It'll stay a 1-point edge for Antonian, as Euster couldn't convert the three-point play. Now a block underneath. Foul's going to go against Cooper Terry. It was clean up top. Max Terry made the block, but Cooper Terry got him with the body down low, and that'll set Ramos to the free throw line for 2.
St. Mary's Hall is a step slow in their traps against Ramos out of this press. He's just a step quicker and able to get through and create what he's creating here. Easier said than done, and to cut him off, but it's what they've got to try to do here.
Yeah.
And plus, we get the ball out of his hands, and he's not creating. So
Ramos with one more. Lead back to 3. Huggins back on the floor quickly. Leaves for Terry. Gets it back top of the key. Down the lane. High off the glass. Tough finish. And Dane Huggins is having a heck of a night.
I mean, what can you say? I mean, that's just another great finish. High off the glass. The proper amount of English. Gets it to go down.
He's got 15 to lead the way for the Barons. And they've cut the lead to 1 once again. Felix in the corner. Into the lane. Nice patience, and off the glass. Brian Armstrong reestablishes it at 3. Terry. That one won't go. And now here comes Ramos. Well, hesitation at the three-point line. Into the lane. Gets the floater to go.
Great body control by Ramos there. A little contact, not called, but he's still able to finish.
Up and down they go. Euster hit hard in the lane. Brian Armstrong came raking across his head. Got a lot of ball, to be fair.
He did.
But Euster went tumbling to the deck, and he'll head to the free throw line for 2. 16 fouls now in the half on Antonian, as Avery Euster hits the first. Lead back down to 4. 5 team fouls in the half on the Barons. Misses short, but the rebound pulled down by his brother. No foul called, no travel called. Either was an option there. Instead, just a missed layup, and it stays at a 4-point deficit for the Barons. 69 seconds to play, third quarter. 4-point lead for Antonian. Looking to add to it, Felix, but instead an offensive foul inside as Armstrong went barreling into the paint.
Yeah, he's got to jump stop and make that pass instead of continuing on through, which he did. Great job setting up to take that charge. St. Mary's ball.
Right through the chest of the defender.
And now at this point, St. Mary's will be in the bonus the rest of the way. Antonian's not far off from that either, with 5 team fouls on the other side.
No free throws, of course, on an offensive foul. But yes, any defensive foul the rest of the way will be free throws for St. Mary's Hall. Getting hurried up right here, and it's Felix coming away with the steal. Nice pressure from the Apaches defense. Fans want a foul there against Huggins, no whistle. And Amaro will slow it down. 36 to play in the quarter. And a steal. It's going to be a foul against Huggins as the steal happened. It'll stay on this end for Antonian. 33.4 to work with here for the Apaches, leading by 4. The freshman Ochoa at a key the inbound. Gets it back, nice cut, finishes.
Perfect, back to the inbounder play right there. Ochoa diving hard to the basket.
Euster, a little bit out of control, but gets it to Terry for 3. Misses long. On the floor for the rebound is Euster, and a timeout called by Barry Chamberlain. He wants to utilize these final 16.1 seconds as best as possible.
Absolutely. He wants to have this thing at 6 points or less when we hit the end of this quarter, not going back the other way to balloon it even more. So he wants to take control right here. He's going to set up his play and try. And in most of these situations, you'll see the offensive team starting to go about 7 seconds. That gives them a chance to get a quality shot and maybe an offensive putback and finish the quarter.
They had cut the lead down to 1 on 2 different occasions there in the third quarter. 45-44. Missed a free throw that would have tied the game. 47-46. Since then, though, a 6-1 spurt from Antonian to open the lead back up just a smidge at 53-47 with 16 1/10 of a second on the clock here in the third quarter.
Absolutely, they've been close twice. 1 point away of getting that thing squared up. They just can't get it even right now.
You think about just the psychological edge that can be, too, to finally pull even.
Absolutely. When you've been working hard to try and get back, it's a big difference from being tied and 1 point down.
Yeah.
It may not seem like it out here, but to the players and the coaches, that is, you said it best, huge mental aspect of that. Here we go.
Rodney Hunter will throw it inbounds. Terry with 15 gives it back for Huggins, right wing. Euster. Huggins thought about a 3, has it knocked away. Loose on the deck, still loose. 4 seconds on the clock. Euster comes out of the pile with it and throws it down at just before the buzzer. 53-49 the score through 3 quarters of play, and an exclamation point on a strong quarter from Antonian. They carve at least a couple points off of that halftime lead, and it's a 4-point game after 3.
I would say that not the way you would draw it up, but the exact way it went in the quarter. Score, go to the next quarter. So, hey, it worked.
4-point game, fourth quarter coming your way next on TAPS TV. Back at University High School, 53-49 after 3 quarters of play. The Antonian Prep Apaches, the number 4 team in the state of Texas in the TABC 6A rankings, lead by 4 over number 6 St. Mary's Hall. Their district rivals, the 4th time this season that the two are meeting, and the closest matchup thus far. Tip-up will go in, I believe, off the hands of Grant.
Devin Grant, yes.
And the lead's back to 6.
Missed the first one, tipped it one-handed, got it to roll in.
Ochoa got his hand on that one and knocks it out of bounds. St. Mary's Hall has to find some sort of answer defensively for big number 14, Devin Grant.
They do, because you can guarantee that with this lead, they're going to try and go inside, milk some clock.
Three-pointer rattles off.
And there's not a much better shot in the half court than getting inside to Grant right now, because he's having his way down there.
Hunter couldn't hit the corner 3, got a good look at it. Now comes away with the steal. Keeps it inbounds. Nice athletic play from the junior. He leads the break. Terry down the lane, back to him, and he puts it in. Rodney Hunter lead back down to 4.
Ochoa just floated that last pass.
And a timeout called as trapped in the corner was Ramos. And Rudy Bernal had to save him.
I think that's a difference in experience right there. Ochoa down here tossed it over the top, picked off. Ramos, a little bit more veteran season, calls timeout.
17 fouls on the Apaches. So from this point forward, St. Mary's Hall shooting 1-1 on any non-shooting foul. 16 fouls against St. Mary's Hall, so the same can be said for Antonian Prep from this point forward. No glaring individual foul trouble to speak of just yet, which is good news for both teams.
Absolutely, and you don't like to see that in these games, quite frankly. I mean, you want the kids to be out there, playing aggressive, not being saddled with those kind of things. We want to see the best on both sides, see the competition.
That is why we are all here.
Absolutely.
At this level, at this stage of the game, I understand the chess match that it can be sometimes to watch coaches deal with foul trouble and how each coach matriculates through that. It is interesting, but at this kind of stage in a state semifinal, you want the best players on the floor settling out who's the best team in the state.
No question.
Against the press, they pass over top of it, Ramos to Ochoa, and that breaks it up easily. Still being hounded, though, as they come across the timeline. Terry gets it inside. They kick it back out for 3, and that'll rattle home for Ramos.
Big time shot by Ramos. He's been one of the best players on the floor. Comes up big again.
Kick out, Huggins trying to match him. Off to the left side of the 10. Ball loose in the paint. Euster's got a handle on it. I can't see how they'll come out of here with anything other than a jump ball, and they do. Possession arrow will keep it on this end with St. Mary's Hall.
You love 3 or 4 bodies on the floor diving for the ball. I mean, that's what it's all about. Both these teams so desperately want to be playing tomorrow night at 6.
Baseline inbound. Euster, nice catch in the corner. Up top, Hunter. Can't get the 3 to rattle home. Ramos nearly traveled with it. Lucky that he didn't. Now a block on the baseline, 94 feet from the hoop. Ramos to the free throw line for 1-1.
Correction, it is a 17 foul. Both teams now the bonus 1-1 form for 3. Gavino Ramos.
Ramos with 20 on the night. A chance to add to it and build upon what is now a 7-point advantage. Front end falls. 2-for-2 trip.
He hardly hit rim on either of those shots.
And all of a sudden, the lead has grown to 9. And a miss here by Euster. 6 minutes to play, and this is a tenuous spot here for St. Mary's Hall. They need to get a stop and try and pull a little tighter here. Felix there to save what was a dangerous pass. Ochoa had a man open on the back door, didn't see him. Back out for Felix. Antonian content to kill a little bit of clock here. Terry inside.
There he is.
Too easy.
Yep.
Devin Grant.
Yeah.
Too easy for him to finish inside.
And it's a pick your poison now. If you're going to come out and pressure, you're going to leave Grant one-on-one down low.
Corner 3. That one will go for Rodney Hunter.
They needed that shot big time.
That pulls it back within 8. 5:20 to play, but here comes Ochoa laying it in. Santiago Ochoa. Can Hunter hit another one? Yes, he can. Lead down to 7.
Shots by Rodney Hunter, back to back.
The junior off the bench averages just 3 points a game, far exceeding that tonight. Ramos, nice move in the lane, the hesitation, and he draws the foul as he hits the deck on the baseline. Barry Chamberlain trying to holler that the foul should have been on Cooper Terry, number 15. I didn't get a chance to see who did they actually call the foul on. And Chamberlain still trying to argue that the foul should have been on 15.
It was either 12 or 13. I didn't see who just came in the game, but.
And Jeff Wannock, one of the officials on the far side, issuing a warning to Barry Chamberlain. 66-57 after the 2 free throws. Underneath, Euster. Nice look.
Huggins.
Felix loses it. Timeout Chamberlain. 4:28 to play, 7-point game. And it's a full timeout for Barry Chamberlain. The number 2 seed out of District 3, trying to knock off the number 1 seed, Antonian Prep. The defending state champions in 6A last year won the title with a 70-67 double overtime win over Prestonwood Christian. This year trying to get back, leading by 7 midway through this 4th quarter. Gavino Ramos leading the way. Devin Grant, hugely impactful in this basketball game with his presence in the paint. Meanwhile, the Eusters, Avery and Ben, Max Terry, Dane Huggins has been fantastic tonight for St. Mary's Hall, trying to keep pace, trailing by 7, and they will have possession out of the timeout here, trailing by those 7 points and trying to inch a little closer.
Yeah, we'll see what Coach Chamberlain comes up with. They're getting the ball here on the baseline. A lot of times you've got some good set plays you can run to get you a good look here, then get into your defense. Still plenty of time, 7-point game. Don't need to be in panic mode right now, but got to execute your stuff and play solid defense.
4 minutes, 28 seconds to play in one of these two teams' season. Huggins for Terry, now to Euster, down the lane. And nice finger roll finish.
That's great out of the timeout there.
More pressure as Ochoa brings it across the timeline, nearly throws it away. Yes, it is indeed a backcourt violation. Yes, Felix thought he had gotten across the timeline, but they say no, he did not. Turn over Barron's basketball.
I think that was a good call. His second foot was not all the way over just yet when he caught that. So he hadn't established his possession in the front court. This is what you want if you're St. Mary's. Creating a few turnovers. Now we got to have execution on the offensive end.
Back-to-back buckets from Euster to cut what was a 9-point game down to 5. Now off the turnover, another opportunity. Nearly lost it. Euster to Euster. Now it's Hunter in the corner. Back up top, Terry, right corner. Three-pointer on the way.
They forgot about Huggins.
Net, Dane Huggins.
He was wide open in the
2-point game.
Cannot leave him.
Nearly a turnover. Terry, solid with the basketball, gets it back to Felix. Now a lot of contact coming across the timeline and a block. Gavino Ramos to the free throw line for 1 and 1. Barry Chamberlain begging for an explanation. I'm not sure if he's asking for a 10-second violation or if he's asking for it's not clear. I think, though, that is the 5th foul on Avery Euster, which would be a massive development for St. Mary's Hall. And that is indeed the case. Cooper Terry set to check into the basketball game for Avery Euster, who has been just massive today. A handshake for Rudy Bernal, the opposing head coach, as he heads to the bench. Just a fantastic day for Euster.
Absolutely.
But he has to sit down with 3:26 to play in what is presently a 2-point basketball game. Front end of the 1-and-1 falls for Ramos. Some frustration with the scorer's table behind us on the Antonian fan side. No impact whatsoever on Gavino Ramos as he hits both, and the lead's back to 4.
Didn't phase him at all. He knocked that down.
He's got 26 now on the night. Huggins trying to match him. Gives for Terry. Baseline drive. Kick out. Huggins for 3. Rattles off. And a nice strong rebound by Khalil Warfield. 3 minutes, 5 seconds to play, 4th quarter. Armstrong.
Grant's got one-on-one now. He calls him off.
Cross court. Felix back up top for Ramos. And Antonian will look to kill a little bit of clock. Hounded. Cross court for Felix. Dribbles through the trap inside, and the layup will go for Devin Grant. Lead back to 6. Terry. Back for his brother. In trouble. Throws it underneath. Corner 3. Euster. Long. Ramos with the board. 2:18 to play. Ramos down the lane. Blocked from behind by Huggins.
That's another one of those athletic plays by Huggins.
Numbers if St. Mary's Hall can hurry. Three-pointer on the way.
Oh,
Huggins buries it. Halves the lead.
Dane Huggins, the block on one end to save a basket. Hustles back down, knocks down the 3. He is all over the place.
Dane Huggins has been the best player for St. Mary's Hall today. All respect to Avery Euster and how well he played today.
Right.
Dane Huggins has been exceptional.
No argument here on that one.
Huggins had 15 at last count. Got to tally this up here. We don't have live stats here at University High. 15 at last check, 18-21 if my tally is correct. And an impact player in transition, big on the defensive end, strong on the glass as well. He has done everything for St. Mary's Hall this evening. And he's a big part of why they trail by just 3 with 2 minutes and 4 seconds to play in the 4th quarter of the 6A state semifinals.
If you're Antonian, you got to take a deep breath right here. Take care of the basketball. Use your ball fakes here against this pressure. Move it from side to side, trying to get it in the middle. And when you get in the half court, either drive the basket or dump it into Old Faithful, number 14 down there.
Nice catch by Armstrong on the break, but he throws it away.
There's a turnover.
It's Hunter Allen coming away with it. We have not called Hunter Allen's name tonight, but he's in the basketball game with under 2 to play because of foul trouble. Kick out, Huggins for the tie. Oh, net, 70 apiece. 24 for Huggins, and with 90 seconds to play, we're knotted up. Barry Chamberlain jumping up and down on the sideline, calling out defensive signals, and an offensive foul. Brian Armstrong called for the moving screen as he went right through the chest of Ben Eugster, and it'll be Barron's basketball with 79 seconds to play.
Tough call there for Armstrong.
He takes a seat on the far end of the bench.
Handing it off, he was still moving. So I understand the call. Tough call going against him though there.
And that gives it to St. Mary's Hall with 1:17 and moving as Eugster brings it across the timeline. The senior averaging 17 points a game. Handling 40 feet from the hoop, picks up his dribble, in trouble now. Hounded, gets it away. Timeout, Barry Chamberlain. Smart timeout because that was inching closer and closer to a 5-second call.
Excellent call by Chamberlain. He's checking to see where the ball is right now. He just wants to know where it's going to be inbounded so he can design his formation here. They didn't see how much time was left on the clock. We're right around a minute, I think.
Just north of a minute,
right, yeah. So, I mean, obviously at this point, your first priority at any point when it's like this is to get the basketball inbounds, right?
Yeah.
Can't do anything unless you get it in. So we got to get it in first, and then you are tied. So you are going to take what they give you. If you can hold it and run it down a little bit, you'll do that. If not, they get us attacking, try and get something good. No need to panic, no need to rush. You're in a tie ball game right now. Defensively, playing sound, contesting shots, and you got to block out. No second chance points for Antonian's sake.
Very similar to the January 31st matchup between these two teams. Antonian built a big lead late third, early fourth quarter. St. Mary's Hall came almost all the way back, had a three-pointer at the buzzer that would have tied the game up at 92 apiece, and it went begging. Today, the lead swelled as large as 9. Beg your pardon, it got as big as 10, 64-54 here in the fourth quarter. Since that point, though, a 16-6 edge for St. Mary's Hall, and they have tied the game up on back-to-back three-pointers from Dane Huggins. He'll get the inbounds pass.
Surprise,
1 minute to play.
It goes in his hands.
Who else would you want the basketball with right now, the way he's played tonight? And he knifes down the lane. Layup goes. Barron's with the lead. 26 for Huggins. Back comes Ramos, 43 to play.
Spreading the court a little bit here.
Ramos with 26 as well, looking to add to it. Ties the game.
Big time shot by Ramos. Here we go. Huggins has to come get the ball.
Walker. Terry. 17 to play, and they get it to Huggins. Waits for a screen.
Let's see if Antonian doubles here.
9 seconds to play. Huggins makes his move with 5 down the lane. Cross court. Walker has it blocked. 1 second to play. They fire at the buzzer. We're headed to OT at University High. 72-72. 4 quarters, not enough to decide who moves on to the 6A state championship game on this side of the bracket. Antonian and St. Mary's Hall headed to OT. We'll be back on TAPS TV.
Aiden loves playing baseball. He's in his element when he picks up a baseball bat.
When Aiden tore his ACL last year, we were all devastated. We didn't think that a 13-year-old could have a problem such as that.
Children's Health Andrews Institute for Orthopedic and Sports Medicine not only repaired Aiden's ACL, but they gave him the knowledge and skills to prevent any future injuries.
Now, Less than a year later, he's back to hitting homers and doing phenomenal.
Put 4 minutes on the clock. A fifth period required to settle who moves on to the state title game on this side of the 6A TAP State bracket. Number 4, Antonian Prep, 34-7 on the year. And number 6, St. Mary's Hall, 28-7 on the year. The fourth time they've met this season. Antonian won all 3. Today, just a little tighter as we go to the fourth. Ochoa off the tip. Layup won't go. And with a head of steam, here comes Huggins, and he'll finish. 28 on the night.
Great finish over Ramos right there. Ramos was ready for that Euro step move, but Huggins' athleticism just a little bit too much.
Terry leaves for Felix as they break the press. If you're not having fun at this point, you're not a basketball fan.
There's the drop step.
Terry's drop step doesn't work this time, but he draws the foul on the rebound. That is foul number 10 of the half, and it will be 2 free throws for Devin Grant. He can tie the game back up if they both fall. First one does. Two for 2 from Grant, 74 apiece. Gavin Walker. Hands off for Huggins. The senior guard has been sensational tonight. Down the lane, draws the foul. 1-1, as that's the 9th team foul of the half on Antonian. Foul goes against Ramos. This is the downside of a lack of live stats. We don't know exactly how many fouls Ramos has.
Right. They've already had a couple of players disqualified in this game.
Misses the front end of the 1-1. It'll stay tied. Contact at midcourt. Ramos threw it, misses. Terry with the putback. That won't go either. His own offensive board, and he draws the foul.
Grant is just a monster down there.
Devin Grant, my apologies.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to call him Terry for some reason. There are enough Terrys on the floor. There's Max Terry, there's Cooper Terry. There doesn't need to be Devin Terry. Devin Grant to the free throw line with a chance to put Antonian back in front, and he misses the first. Just had a 2-for-2 trip to tie the game. Feels strange to say, but Antonian hasn't led since it was 70-67 with a few minutes left in the fourth. That changes here. Walker. Hard drive down the lane, and he finishes. Gavin Walker. Bit of a surprise off the bench with a big bucket in OT.
Right. Big time play coming off the bench there.
Back in front go the Barons. Grant draws another foul.
He gets a head of steam going. He is hard to stop.
All 6-4 of them. And with 2:28, 2 free throws. First rattles off. At least for the moment, St. Mary's Hall stays in front. Second one rattles home, and it's a tie game. A couple of 1-for-2 trips here in the recent moments for Devin Grant. Walker, cross court, Terry. Step back, traveled with it. Tie game and a critical turnover. Barry Chamberlain can't believe the call. I thought he was about to get teed up. It looked like it was going that direction.
I did too, and I'm glad he did. Let's just say that.
Ochoa. Lazy pass over the top, but he gets away with it. Now it comes back to him on the left wing. 2 minutes to play in OT, tied at 76. Grant, bucket and the foul. Devin Grant is taken over in overtime.
So that's 5 on the other Euster.
Ben Euster's 5th foul, and Devin Grant has all 6 points in the overtime period for Antonian. And the Apaches lead by 2, and he's got a free throw to make it 3. Both Eusters have now fouled out of the basketball game. Cooper Terry checks back in. And now a lot, if not all, of the offensive pressure is on the shoulders of Dane Huggins. Terry misses the free throw, rebound pulled down by Ochoa. Timeout, Rudy Bernal.
Good timeout here by Antonian.
1:55 to play in the fourth. 78-76. Antonian leads by 2. Free throw missed a moment ago for Devin Grant that would have made it a 3-point lead, but the offensive board by Santiago Ochoa, the freshman, puts them in prime position here to eat a little bit of this clock and perhaps increase the lead.
But like we talked about at the end of regulation, for St. Mary's, the same applies true for Antonian, only now they have the lead. Okay, get the ball in bounds, take care of it, and I do not see why Grant does not touch it in the post here at this point. Yeah. I mean, he is just going to work down there.
See if we can tally up here during the timeout just how many Grant has poured in today. He had 11 in the first half, 13, 15, 17, 19 through 4 quarters, and add 6 more, 25 on the night. 28 for Gavino Ramos, 25 for Devin Grant. That's 53 of their 78 just between those two.
Absolutely.
Huge night for each of them. And they lead by 2 here in overtime. Ochoa on the inbound. And a travel right off the timeout.
Tough break there.
Ramos couldn't keep his feet, and the turnover.
It was a travel. St. Mary's going to get it back. They got to get it to Huggins here.
He takes the inbound. $1:50 to play in OT.
As if they haven't asked him to do enough already, he is going to have a really shoulder to load from here on out.
They tried to hand it off, and he couldn't. Timeout attempting to be called by Ramos, and eventually they give it to him. He was on the deck pointing to and screaming at the officials, asking for a timeout, and for a while it was not granted. Ultimately, the near side official, I think it was Ewell, came across and granted the timeout.
Right.
Big defensive play by Gavino Ramos, and just some miscommunication there between Dane Huggins and Max Terry. You thought he was going to hand the ball off, elected not to, and I think that even surprised Terry, and he kind of knocked it away from his own man and created an opportunity for Ramos to dive on it.
I think you're exactly right, Mike. I think that they both were on just the slightest bit off, but that's all it takes at this stage. And it results, that's the difference, resulting in a clean play that may get you something going to the basket and a shot to a turnover.
So with a 2-point lead and a $1:39 to play in overtime, Antonian once again with possession. Ochoa with the baseline inbound, and the Barons will press once again. Ochoa trying to trap him on the baseline. They can't. Grant at the center of the floor helps break the press. And now it's Ramos down the lane. Bucket, no! Offensive foul. Cooper Terry steps in, puts his body on the line, and creates the turnover. Ramos called for the charge. This game has had a little bit of everything.
It certainly has, and I've enjoyed every minute of it right here.
80 seconds to play in OT. Huggins back to Terry. Makes his man miss. Drives to the hoop. Lays it in. Tie game again. 78 apiece.
Great ball fake to get to the cup there.
Ochoa draws a foul. He'll head to the free throw line for 2. Barry Chamberlain with 2 fists at his mouth, just almost wanting to bite his knuckles. I don't mean this to say that he's been disrespectful. That's not my point. But Barry Chamberlain has been wearing the officials out tonight.
He certainly has. He certainly has. On the other side,
it's part of doing his job, if we're being frank.
Yeah.
But
on the other side, Ochoa misses the first free throw. We've seen some freshman moments from him. He is very talented. We've had the turnovers, missed free throw, but he steps up big, hits that second one to give him the lead.
1 for 2 trip. And it's a 1-point lead. 1 minute to play. Terry hands off for Hunter, who is huge late in regulation. Driving to the hoop, short arms it. Rebound pulled down by Terry. And they're going to call a travel on Terry as he grabbed the rebound and fell to the deck. That is about the toughest way you could get a travel call.
Absolutely.
Technically, it's accurate. Chamberlain trying to argue that there could have been a foul call in there as well, which isn't entirely possible. Sure. Instead, with 50 seconds to play, they try and break the press. Up ahead, the layup will go for Gavino Ramos. Lead to 3. Ramos now with 30. Huggins fouled. 35.9 to play, and Dane Huggins to the free throw line to shoot 2.
Oh, if you're Antonian, you just want to move your feet there. Don't put him on the line with the clock stopped. The money player for St. Mary's right now has a chance to pull him a little bit closer.
Misses the first.
The first one.
Yeah, way too early on in the process to be talking about fouling up 3. That's a conversation for maybe the final 15 seconds or so. At this point, you need to just be playing solid defense.
And I think, honestly, that was just an aggressive play. He just reached instead of...
1 of 2.
Great job getting the ball inbounds quick there so they couldn't set up their defense.
And quickly, Ramos can't finish. And now a foul on the rebound will go against Ramos. I'm not sure how many fouls that is on Ramos, but I can remember at least 3 here very recently.
It's got to be either 3 or 4.
Clearly it's not 5 because he's not leaving the game.
He just misses that, and instead...
But
I was going to say, give him a chance to tie it, but now that's not going to happen.
Walker misses the first. He had a chance there to tie the game if he could hit them both and knot it up at 81. 27.5 to play.
This is where you've got guys that have fouled out already and we're in overtime, and other people trying to step up here. He makes a big free throw there, cuts it to 1.
Inbounds comes to Ramos, out of bounds. Whoa. They're going to have a conversation about this. Who's that ball off? It's staying on this end. Barron's basketball. Knocked out of bounds, last touch by Ramos. Timeout, Barry Chamberlain. And now Rudy Bernal standing at midcourt, palms to the air. 26.3 to play. 1-point lead for Antonian. But it is Barron's ball. Baseline inbound.
Did you say earlier that we pretty much seen it all in this game? I don't remember if you did. If you didn't, I'm just going to go ahead and say it for you. But, I mean, there's been a little bit of everything in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, so St. Mary's has the ball underneath their own basket. Let's see what they come up with here. And obviously the result of the play will determine what happens the rest of the way, whether they are tied, behind, ahead as we move forward.
Walker hit 1 of 2 from the free throw line, cut the lead in half to make it 81-80, and then off the inbound just now.
I'm interested to see if this is going to be Huggins stepping up, or well, obviously with both Euksters fouling out, a guy like Gavin Walker has to be at the line, right? Making one of those two. Does he or somebody else step up and make a big play here in this state semifinal? It's going to be fun to watch right here at the end, regardless of how it shakes out.
Huggins with 28 in the ball game, but has not scored since he had the first bucket of OT. Now would be a great time for him to change that if you're a St. Mary's Hall Barons fan. Inbounds, comes to him, 26.3, and now moving as Huggins, guarded by Ochoa, cross court, gets it back, beg your pardon, it's Ramos on him, head down, into the lane, high off the glass, can't get enough English on it, and it's Ramos with the rebound, then he's fouled. 12.5 to play. Huggins got to the lane, couldn't quite get it off the glass.
He made a couple of shots like that tonight already, just couldn't get the English on that one to spin it back. Antonian the rebound. And now you got who you want at the line. Ramos, 85% free throw shooter, been one of the better players in the game tonight. A chance to stretch this to 3 points.
Smart to foul him quickly, still plenty of time here. Even if he hits both, it will still be a one-possession game, but he buries the first.
Now, if he makes this, you cannot give up a three-pointer.
I would say now is when you might start the conversation about whether or not you want to foul up three.
Sure. Well, now that there's a timeout.
If they make the second one, of course.
Now there's a timeout for them to talk it over right here and see. So it'll be interesting to see what they do coming out of this.
Chamberlain's the one who calls timeout. Wants to give Ramos a little something extra to think about here. (82-80). Antonian Prep, the defending 6A state champions, leading by a bucket. And with their junior leader, Gavino Ramos, who's had a massive night, as is frankly his penchant, at the free throw line for one more and a chance to extend the lead to 3. Dane Huggins couldn't quite tie it on the other end, or beg your pardon, would have taken the lead if he could have hit the layup on the other end prior to the foul that sent Ramos to the line. But he'll get at least one more chance, down either 2 or 3 in these final 12 seconds.
If he misses, everything is in play for St. Mary's, 2s or 3s. If he makes this, there's still 12 seconds. If you got something going very quick to the basket, you could still take it to. If not, you're going to have a 3 here, a 3-pointer.
Ramos with 31 on the night, looking to make it 32. 12.5 to play. Makes the second. 3-point game. Huggins trying to get the inbound, can't. It comes into Walker. 10 seconds to play. And a foul, up 3. Smart play. Devin Grant commits the foul. Barry Chamberlain doing all he can to try and argue for an intentional foul. He's not going to get that call. 8.8 to play, and Rodney Hunter will head to the free throw line. Hunter made a couple of massive three-pointers in the fourth quarter to help key that comeback that got this game to overtime in the first place. Now needs to hit both of these. Sinks the first.
Yeah, you try and make this one here. Get it to 1. You're going to foul quickly on the inbound. Force them to have to make 2 more. I don't think you missed this one intentionally here.
Gavin Walker and Dane Huggins underneath for the rebound in case of a miss. Rattles off.
Still got a foul.
Have to foul right now. 6 seconds on the clock, and they finally do. Ramos pulling down the rebound, and now he has a chance to ice it if he can hit them both.
Yes, if he makes both of these, You tell your team, do not foul. You let them go to the basket.
32 on the night for Ramos, an 85% free throw shooter with a chance to end it right here. First one goes.
Here's the big one right here. It's a miss. You just guard the three-point line because they're going to have to shoot a three with 6 seconds left.
He does miss.
Just guard the three-point line. You don't even have
Here
to be in
comes
the
Huggins
paint.
with three. Up ahead, Terry for the tie. Off the back iron, no. Antonian survives. The Apaches, the defending 6A state champs, will continue their defense of that state title. 84-81 in an overtime thriller. The three-pointer from Max Terry off the back iron and no good as the buzzer sounds in overtime. And the Antonian student section bouncing behind us to our left as two teams that battled for 40 full minutes. One had to lose tonight, and it ends up that St. Mary's Hall suffers their 8th loss of the season. And a 5 senior starting lineup ends their career in gutting fashion for Dane Huggins, the Eugster twins, and the Terry twins. But Antonian Prep behind 33 points from Gavino Ramos and a massive night as well from Devin Grant. Hang on for the 84-81 overtime win in the state semifinals. And they move on to the state championship game where they'll play the winner of our final game of the day here at University High School, Midland Christian and John Paul II. Coming your way in about 20 minutes right here on TAPS TV. We hope to see you then.
The St. Mary's Hall Barons on an outstanding season, finishing here at the state final four. The Barons were led by head coach Coach the final four right to be placed medals on the necks of the Barons players. Please come forward as I call your name and number. Starting with number 3, Dane Huggins. Number 5, Ryan Kahn. Number 10, Rodney Hunter. Number 12, Avery Eugster. Number 13, Max Terry. Number 14, Luke Phillips. Number 15, Cooper Carey. Number 21, Ben Eugster. Number 22, Max Hart. Number 24, Aryan Kapoor. Number 25, Hunter Allen. And number 30, Isaiah Wright. Almost lost him here. Number 20, Gavin Walker. Lewis, Jared Arnold, play bias. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for your 2019-2020 St. Mary's Hall Bears. Congratulations once again on an outstanding year. Antonian and Antonian Apaches. The guys got a chance to go back to back. We'll see you tomorrow on West for the 6A State Championship Contest. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's anyone here who is looking for the Legacy Christian and Faith Christian semifinal in Class 5A, that game is being played at Waco at Robinson High School. Robinson High School.